Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you, now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. Looking for something to add to your bucket list? Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fanatic and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever and whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download the Meta AI app, now available on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Hi, everyone. I certainly hope you enjoy our interview with John Stamos. Few people know as much about the theater, all the Broadway stuff, all the things that we're interested and care about, things you should see, things maybe not. Whatever it is, I love having him on for his visit, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So stay tuned and enjoy this lovely day. I'm Joan Hamburg.
Your weekend is not complete without the First Lady of New York Radio. It's the Joan Hamburg Show. Talk Radio 77 WABC.
I'm a big John Stamos fan, as I know all of you are. We had a lot of listeners when they heard that he was going to be the guest this week. Really excited. And John, 3-time Emmy nominee. He's a wonderful actor. He's a producer. He's done it all, television, film, and Broadway. And you may have seen him in General Hospital. He's done so many wonderful things. Full House, on stage, in cabaret. In fact, John, I was at the theater the night, I think it was the locomotive as part of the scene, broke.
Bye Bye Birdie. Yeah.
In Bye Bye Birdie. And I still remember with the audience, we were like, how could that happen? That doesn't happen. And we sat there and waited. But we all ended up like suddenly we had hundreds of best friends sharing you in the theater. Do you remember when that?
Of course. Hey, first, can I say thank you so much for having me? It's such an honor to be on your show. You've been good to me for many years. And I have this book that came out, and I one of my most important things was to talk about the theater because, I've done 5 shows out there, but people don't, if you didn't see it, people don't know. And it's so, and I had great stories about each one. But the Bye Bye Birdie story, the beauty of that night was that I had some friends in the audience. Do you remember? And and I had, so they said, the big train going into Apple City or whatever it was called broke down. It was like, with big gears, it was very scary. It was like one of the first nights or opening night. And so there were a lot of people there. And they said, the curtain goes down. And they said, John, get out there and ad lib, talk to the people. I'm like, what? Just go out there. So I'm, hello, everybody. And I went, talk like that. And I was running out of stuff to talk about.
I remember you were talking. And I thought, what's going to happen to this guy? How much more talk?
And then I hear someone on the audience heckling me. And it was Bob Saget. So Bob comes running down the aisle, and he slams his knee on the front of the stage and jumps up with me. Turns out that he broke his kneecap and dealt with it later. So Bob and I are doing some stuff, and Bob was talking. And I had the head mic, because of, we were doing the show. And so there was a microphone through my hair and was coming out my forehead. And so Bob was talking into my forehead and said, it's a good thing they didn't mic your crotch. And that's Bob Saget. And then we just hear this voice out of the audience going, get a haircut, Stamos. When is this going to be over? Do we have to pay for tickets? And it was Rickles.
Oh, one of my favorites.
We grabbed a microphone, and he just, laid into me for about 5 minutes. And then Gina Gershon came out, and then was like, where's Bill Irwin? That guy can do anything. And so he came. So it was a show within the show, and then I think train started working again, and we finished the show, but it was quite a night.
It was quite a night. For those of us in the audience, too. That's a night that I'm not going to forget because it was unreal, right?
Yeah, for sure. Those are the fun things. I know you talk about them on your show sometimes with some actors of like the things that go wrong or, I ripped my pants. I remember one of the first shows in How to Succeed in Business. But the theater, like you said, it's the heart of New York and we need to keep talking about it. But I never grew up thinking that I was going to be on Broadway. It wasn't like, I'm going to get to Broadway someday. But I knew I had to do something after Full House because, God, it was a beautiful show. It's still, people are still talking about it today. But I felt like, oh no, now what do I gotta, Jack Klugman was my first mentor over the years. And he was obviously a big theater guy. And I said, what do I do, Jack? I've been playing this mullet-headed idiot, for 8 years. He said, get to the theater. I said, well, I've never really done it. He said, he said, you could hold the stage. I said, I'm not a great singer. Tell the story with the song, And so the audition came up to replace Matthew Broderick. And it's to which, when I was writing this book, I went like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, why did I think I could replace him and be there? But it was I just did it. Like, I think I try to get across in the book that my parents never put up obstacles. If there was something that I wanted to do, they said, go for it, but study hard, be a good person, and work your tail off and be nice. And so I think that's what got me there. And then that was incredible, though. That was like... I remember auditioning. I had to audition for Des. I went Des McAnuff and went to his apartment there in I can't remember where I lived, but he had a brownstone. And it was the day the OJ trial was gonna. The verdict was coming out that day, and he was very much into it. I needed help on this audition. I'm like, Des, he said, oh no, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be great. And he just sort of watched the news the rest of the day. And
I know.
Then
But you also grew up with a mom who, you can do it. You can do anything. And whatever it is you want to do, I put my faith in you. You can do it.
Yeah.
And that's a great gift. And you also, you knew, a lot of people have luck. And sometimes they don't say hello to it. They let it go by. And I always felt that you seized the moment and made it work. And that's a gift.
Well, I think you're right. Like it's not certainly in the theater and singing and dancing. It wasn't my talent, but I did have some lucky breaks. And you're right. I embraced the luck. I didn't shun it off or didn't go, I'm good enough without luck. I was in the right place at the right time for a lot of that. And then it was also just trusting myself. The next one after How to Succeed in Business was Cabaret. And I was like, what the hell? How did I get myself into this? I remember when I first, started doing it. And there was a lot of interesting moments there where it was like, it was during How to Succeed in Business. I had a press agent for the longest time, a Greek guy named Greg Aliopoulos, and he passed away of AIDS. And I just couldn't get it. It really killed me that he was gone and that he wasn't there to see me. And I really relied on him for to play the MC. His
the toughest
guidance, kind of, yeah. And that was that character was. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean. And people were coming in expecting to see Uncle Jesse because it wasn't that far off the Full House. And people were walking out. And I remember talking to Sam Mendes. I said, what am I doing wrong? He said, nothing. You're doing it right. So from then on, I was trying to get people just to be so shocked by my what I was doing there. But that was an incredible. That was the best, probably professionally the best moment of my life. I loved that show. It was the perfect time. As you know, it was a super hit. And Sam Mendes and Rob Marshall, and beautiful.
Hey guys, finding the perfect gift for the food lover in your life is easy. Thanks to Goldbelly. Goldbelly ships America's most iconic foods straight from world-famous restaurants right to your door. So if you want to treat someone to Joe's Stone Crab from Miami, Franklin Barbecue from Texas, or desserts from famous foodies like Ina Garten or Martha Stewart, Goldbelly has you covered with free shipping anywhere in the country. Just go to goldbelly.com and for a limited time, get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's promo code GIFT.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Like with the road trippers we see here in their natural habitat, the breakfast area at a Comfort Inn. Here's a dad teaching his son how to make waffles. Fluffy, golden waffles. There's a mom making sure her daughter eats some fruit to avoid the I'm hungry from the back seat. And a sibling standoff over the last muffin. This is the cycle of vacation maximizationing in all its glory. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
And it was a tough role, too. I remember seeing you in that. And, when you love theater and you go, when I was a little kid, my mom would pick me up at the neighborhood playhouse because I was destined, I thought, to be the world's greatest actress.
Why? What happened? Did you do any theater yourself?
I did a lot of stuff, a lot of off-Broadway. But, the old joke, when the relatives stopped coming, the show closed. So,
I would have come.
Why
did you give up? Why did you stop?
I've always been in love with theater, but out of the blue, I got a radio job. I knew nothing about radio. And they said we had a guy who was insulting everyone and we were being sued. That was the station. And we want someone who's nice. They didn't talk about talent or anything. They said someone who's nice. So I figured, never look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, right? Hello, luck. Yeah. And that's how it started. And then, I watched people like you, John, who we knew from television and everything. And it was amazing. You could end up doing anything and playing very difficult roles, too. And everyone believed you, and that too is a great gift.
I came in with an enormous amount of respect and an enormous amount of, please teach me. I don't know what I'm doing. This is your medium. And I ended up working with some very, very lovely people over the years in all those shows. The next one after Cabaret, I knew I went to see 9 with Antonio, and it was during the previews, and we kind of knew him. My ex-wife knew him a little bit. And it was early on. And I remember watching the show, and he wasn't great. And he didn't get it. I didn't think he was that funny. He wasn't singing great. And I was like, because I'd worked with Roundabout, I said, you know what? They're going to call me to replace him in a year. And I got to tell myself right now, no, this is a weird show. I don't get it, blah, blah, blah. And then sure enough, Sydney Beers called and said, do you want to go back to Cabaret? We loved you over there. Or do you want to take over 9? I went, man, I should challenge myself. And, Antonio was just so. So I auditioned for David LeBeau, and I get the gig, and then I come back a couple of weeks later to start rehearsals, and I decide I'm gonna go watch Antonio one more time just to see what. And as I'm pulling onto that street, it was packed, and it was so much excitement. And I remember asking the driver, I said, "What's going on? The president in town? What's going on?" And he said, like it was a warm, creamy soup. He said, "Antonio." I'm like, "Antonio, what?" And he was just last week, and everybody's coming to see him. I said, oh, okay. I went into the theater, and there was this nice usher boy who I sat on the stairs, and he said, there's a rumor that you're taking over this role. I said, no, because it hadn't been out yet. And he said, oh, thank God, because, we like you and all, but you couldn't replace, nobody could replace this guy. And the curtain goes up, and Antonio's fantastic. I mean, brilliant. You probably saw him in it. And I was like, oh, my God, how can I do that? I was, and it was just goes to show you, and I came into that, and that was I consider that a failure for me. I mean, I learned a lot, but I closed the show. I couldn't keep it open. I was 40, and I wasn't Guido 40. I was me 40. I had a lot of light in my eyes, and I just didn't have the weight to play it. So after closing the show, and not soon after I got a divorce, it was ironic because now I could play it, being...
you had all that aggravation.
Right. Yeah.
No, you could. And it was a great role, and you did play it. And I'll tell you what else, which to us, the audience, you do. You had a lot of heavy hitters working with you. I mean, a lot of my heroes. I love Don Rickles. I always thought he was one of the funniest guys in the whole world. And when you work with those guys, you give them a lot of space. You're really good to we can appreciate their performances for what they are without taking anything away from you. Oh. And not every actor can do that.
I believe in propping everyone up around me, especially those guys. I mean, Don was a special man in my life. I was always gravitating towards these male mentors. Gary Marshall was, he was instrumental even in me getting Full House, but he was sort of my godfather forever. And I think he was there that night too, Bye Bye Birdie. But I just love these guys, and I had so much to learn. I still do. And I think when they saw that I just wanted to learn from them, They used to call me the sponge. I just ask questions and be around. Then they let me, into their world. Don, when him and I really connected, he was not. People thought he was dead. They didn't know Don Rickles was still alive. He was the funniest man on the planet, like you said, and he was playing Vegas and whatever. And I just paid attention to him. And then we started doing these, the Mr. Warmth, this documentary, and tributes to him. And so then he finally got his due. People really realized that he was the best. And then, going into these shows, I was always trying to gain legitimacy. Hey, I'm a Broadway guy. And you would think that it would resonate back in Hollywood. Didn't always. I mean, they do pay attention, but it was more the other way around, that actors were coming from Hollywood because they had a name and getting on stage and, either being good or not being good. But I always wanted to be respected, obviously. Who doesn't? But I was trying too hard. But the end of the run of Best Man, the Gore Vidal play, the great James Earl Jones and Angela Lansbury. I mean, that was an incredible turning point in my career, in my life, in my mind, really, because I felt, this is it. I got it. And I became close with James during that time. He called me Little John. I called him Big Daddy. And I just follow him around the stage going, this is CNN. This is CNN. And he was a wonder. He still is alive, obviously. But he would do warm-ups with us. And, he was just, you probably met him and had him on it. What an incredibly, towering thing of talent and love and heart. And so it was the last show. And we were walking across the stage, and it was just the two of us, and I put my hand. I said, Big Daddy, you did something for me that no one has. You've given me a real sense of legitimacy, and I know in my heart that people see me in a different way now, and I could never thank you enough. And he said, that's okay, Big Little John. You just then the stage door opens, and all the people are out in front, and they're screaming. They go, Uncle Jesse, say have mercy, say have mercy. And I couldn't even look at him in the face after that. Here I was bloviating about. And we walk out and sign some autographs, and I want to just crawl down the street and run as fast as I can. And I couldn't look at him. And just then I kind of took a look, and I see a guy in the crowd hold his phone up to James and say, James, could you say, Luke, I am your father? Luke, I am your father. And I was like, you know what? F it. You call me anything you want. If James Earl Jones is still getting that, then,
that's
a real interesting moment.
I know. He's great. And you did a wonderful job in your new book. I'm talking to John Stamos, If You Would Have Told Me. And it's a wonderful read. And not only about his coming of age, and believe me, if I loved that you never would have put or thought Broadway was part of your future, because you were an early television guy and you did a whole bunch of stuff. But it wasn't Broadway, right? And then Broadway. And there you were, embracing it, and it embraced you. When you finished writing the book, did you feel good about yourself? Like, hey, I did all this.
What a great question. Nobody's asked me that. Yes, I realized it was like 330 pages of gratitude of wow. I didn't think I could write a book, just the writing of it. I didn't think I had that skill. And I didn't think anybody would be interested. And I didn't think my life was that worthy of writing about. But as I'm writing it, I discovered my story. And I made me look back at, wow, I've been, first of all, incredibly lucky. I've had a lot of love around me. I disrespected all that for a moment, and I straightened myself back up. So there was all that kind of storytelling. But yes, I look now and I go, wow, I have done a lot. But mostly it's a love letter to all the people that have been so good to me over the years. And I've had the chance to be around a lot of great people like you, Joan. If you would have told me that I'd be on this show one day.
Imagine this. The best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Listen, if you would have told me that kid who we all thought was so adorable and so charming and so wonderful, would grow up to be such a superb actor and be able to fill so many different possibilities. You know, good for you. I mean, what's harder than Broadway? And you sort of took it over. And I'm sure you didn't think you could in the beginning.
No. And I'm still scared about it. I sometimes had a little video of How to Succeed or a couple of these things. Oh, also Cabaret. And when I would go on auditions or big meetings and stuff that I was nervous about, I would look at that and go, if you could do that, man, you know, this thing coming up is easy. But I want to say something great about you, Joan, is that you've always been positive about the theater. You know, and there can be some, most of the time they're pretty nice to me, not always, but there can be some snarkiness and some cold, you know, sort of just mean. They're mean. And you've always been the opposite of that. And in a world now where we want to get people back into the theater, where we need, you know, good entertainment, where we need a place to go for 2 or 3 hours and be happy and forget about the world. And you're out there promoting it, and you've been positive about it, and you're good about it, and you're kind about it. And that's really important. And I thank you for that.
Well, and I thank all of you guys. When you think, even from the time I was a little kid, to sit in a dark theater as the lights are going dimmer and dimmer, and you can almost sense, it's like breathing. The curtain is going to go up any minute, and you're going to be taken to a different place. What could be
magical, isn't it?
Better than that? It's magic. And we need that now. The world is so crummy in part that
that's what I'm saying. So thank you for promoting it. You know, there's that moment too, where, which I never thought about, but like what you're talking about, you sit in that theater, there's thousands of people getting ready to be entertained, thousands of entertainers getting ready to entertain. But unlike Hollywood or other places making movies, TV shows, it's all in that same 8-block radius. And it all happens at 8 o'clock. Like, it's like a spark that's undeniable, right?
Right,
like,
exactly.
Boom, right at 8 o'clock, it's pow, you know. There's nothing like it. To be in the audience, which I love doing. I was just at Gutenberg a couple of weeks ago. I loved watching Josh and Andrew. Boy, that was a treat. And being on the stage doing it sometimes too. It's like, there's nothing like it. So people out there, get to the theater, right, Joan?
No, right. Really get to the theater, and it's your escape. I mean, you don't need shrinks if you can go to the theater, and it's a lot less expensive too. No, it is our salvation. So the book is done, and you're busy promoting it. Are you in a good place with it now? I mean, do you think about next steps, or you've got with theater and television and writing, you're fulfilled?
I have a son and a wife, and that's what fulfills me now. I'm so grateful.
I love the pictures of them. Beautiful people.
Well, they're nice. They're good-hearted. But my wife has the biggest heart. She loves theater. She goes all the time. Her and her mother, they go out here to L.A. They have membership at one of the big theaters here. And she always says that's her favorite thing to see. But I have projects, and everybody, a lot of people, certainly when I'm in New York, they're, when are you coming back? I don't know, man. It would have to be I look at these people on stage now 8 times a week. Can I do that again? I don't know. But it was the highlight of my career.
Of course you can.
My life. But right now, I have stuff, professional stuff, but I'm loving. I've finally learned at 60 to just really love the little moments. Not the big moments don't really define, I hope, for me anyway, they don't define you. It's the little moments, the microtransactions, and then getting, like, I wanted to be a father so bad my whole life, and now I am. And I've just stopped feeling like I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to do that. When I'm with him, or when I'm with my wife even, I was just like, okay, nothing's that important right now. Let's just focus in on. The other day I bought Billy a drink, a boba drink. And you would think that I gave this kid $1 million. He was screaming, jumping up and down. I was like, I love this. These are the moments you have to just suck up and enjoy. So that's what's on my plate right now.
Without question. Well, continue enjoying your beautiful family. Thank you for the book. I really loved reading it. And you'll come visit me again. All the best to you, John.
We'll do it live. It's an honor to be on your show, Joan. I thank you. God bless you. And thank you again.
Anytime, honey. We'll talk soon. I'm Joan Hamburg, and you're listening to WABC.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.